And he was like,
everyone's different. Stop with the reaction of how a guy answers a freaking question.
it's not one guy. It's like,
okay, we got to win.
In extra innings on the road since the rule came into play of the Manfred man, they're 13-27, and that is the worst record in all of baseball.
Coming into the season, the New York Yankees were seen as early favorites to go back to the World Series. Sure, they might have lost Garrett Cole to Tommy John surgery, but they still had Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Giancarlo Stanton, Ben Rice, and of course, Aaron Judge. But fast forward to the trade deadline, and the New York Yankees are fighting just to make the playoffs. So where did this all go wrong for the Yankees? Can they fix it? Will Aaron Judge be shunned to DH for the rest of this season after his most recent injury? But more importantly, how can the New York Yankees guarantee that they'll win a World Series? Now, before we get into today's video, if you haven't already heard, we're doing a huge giveaway on our road to 25K subscribers. I'm giving away an MLB official jersey to a lucky fan who subscribes and has notifications turned on. So if you don't already have that, please do that now. We really appreciate support, and hopefully you'll be the next winner. We are announcing one every single week. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into it. Coming into the 2025 season, a lot of doubt surrounded the New York Yankees, and honestly, I understand why. Giancarlo Stanton was set to miss the beginning of the season. Of course, Garrett Cole had to get Tommy John. Luis Gil got hurt, and oh yeah, they also lost Juan Soto to the Mets. The Yankees were seen as a talented team, don't get me wrong, but the best team in the American League? I don't know, that might be a stretch. ESPN even predicted the Red Sox would win the AL East over the Yankees, but then something insane happened. The New York Yankees would not stop mashing.
Goldschmidt swings at the first pitch and lofts it to left center field and deep. See ya! Bellinger lost one deep to right center. There it goes into the bleachers. See ya! Back to back. That one's driven deep to left field. There it goes. See ya! Back to back to back.
The Yankees were on fire to start the season, and on June 12th, they were 42-24, or in other words, 18 games above 500. They were a lock for the playoffs, and barring anything drastic, the division was pretty much locked up already. But then, one man did something that changed their season entirely, and that man was ex-Yankee Carlos Narvaez.
And the 1-2 to Narvaez.
After Narvaez walked off his old team, things haven't been the same. The Red Sox would go on to sweep the Yankees that series, and since that moment, the Yankees have been nearly 10 games under 500. If this continues, the Yankees won't be fighting the Red Sox and Blue Jays for first place. They'll be fighting with Tampa and Baltimore for fourth. But now, what if I told you the New York Yankees have way bigger issues than whether or not they're gonna make the playoffs? During this stretch of mediocre baseball, it was easy to ignore the warning signs of a serious issue. Just watch this video and see whether or not you spot a problem.
Field on the run is Judge, and he makes the play. So Kirk gave it a ride. Nice play by Judge into the corner.
You can't, right? It just looks like a routine play. But now let's just look at Aaron Judge on this play.
Nice play by Judge going back. Grimacing in pain there. I don't know what's going on.
Do you notice his wince after throwing the ball? He's obviously in pain. Anybody with two eyes can tell he was in pain while throwing the baseball right there. Anybody that is not named Aaron Boone. I say that because after this play, Judge wouldn't only stay in the game, he'd continue to play right field for days until it was announced he'd be placed on the IL with a forearm issue. Before I get into what this actually means for the Yankees, I have one huge question for them. I don't understand how the Yankees let this situation get to this point, and it just feels like something similar we saw with Garrett Cole. It was clear Judge was hurt in Toronto. Nobody did anything about it. A few days later, he lands on the IL, and we have no idea what his timeline to play the field is. And now we know he's on the IL for 10 days and will only come back as a DH for the rest of the season. Now, let's look at Garrett Cole's situation. The Yankees knew Cole had an issue in November. They thought he could rehab it by opening day. He obviously obviously didn't, and he ended up missing the entire season with Tommy John. Now, I'm not blaming the players or anybody specifically within the organization, but come on, 2 situations like this in the span of less than 6 months? Are you kidding? How do you let this continue to happen? The worst part now is that if Judge is able to come back and play, he won't be playing the field. He'll be DHing. Now, the reason this is so important isn't just because Aaron Judge is a good defender on a team full of terrible ones. It's important because of who you're taking out of the lineup. When Giancarlo Stanton came back from injury, the main question was, how would Stanton and Ben Rice split time at DH? But now, with Judge occupying the position full time, where will Stanton and Rice get consistent at bats? I mean, seriously, you just took out 2 of your best bats simply because they don't have a spot in the lineup. The Aaron Judge injury isn't just bad because the team lost their best hitter in the middle of a slump. It's bad because whenever he does come back, they're also going to lose another hitter in the form of Stanton or Rice. And by the way, that's just offensively. I haven't even touched the defense yet. The Yankees are a terrible defensive team, and it feels like nearly every game, Anthony Volpe is throwing the ball over someone's head, Jazz Chisholm is dropping a ball, or maybe Jason Dominguez just forgot how to play the outfield. Either way, this team has way more issues than the entire Aaron Judge situation. Plus, what about Max Fried? The dude was lights out to start the season, but now, not so much. From July 1st to July 23rd, Max Fried's ERA is 6.52. We are talking about a guy who's struggling to get outs here in the month of July. So, with all of that being said, let's summarize all of the issues the Yankees have. Aaron Judge is hurt, the defense is abysmal, the pitching is regressing, they have too many bats and not enough spots for them, and oh yeah, if you ask Aaron Boone about it, he just freaks out.
And he was
everyone's different. Stop with the reaction of how a guy answers a freaking question.
It's not one guy. It's like,
okay, we gotta win. Some guys throw their helmet. Does that make you feel good? Some guys are calm. Stop it. It doesn't mean a guy cares more or less because he dives into home plate.
With Aaron Boone crashing out, Brian Cashman desperately trading for players, Aaron Judge out of the lineup, and Max Fried struggling in July, the Yankees season honestly kind of seems hopeless. But what if I told you that there is still a way for the Yankees to turn all of this around sooner rather than later? Is this season over for the New York Yankees? That is the question on all Yankees fans' minds right now. And I'm here to tell you, no, it is obviously not over just yet. Let's just establish a few facts. Even if Aaron Judge does end up needing Tommy John surgery, it won't keep him out of the lineup. Remember last season when Ohtani won NL MVP strictly DHing because of his Tommy John recovery? Judge can honestly do the same thing. Now, does it suck they're gonna have to take out Stanton and Rice from the lineup because Judge will be DHing every day? Of course, but at least they're finding a way to get Judge at bats. As for the team in general, they just traded for Ryan McMahon, which will drastically improve their infield defense and allow Jazz Chisholm to play second base full time where he is more comfortable. Cody Bellinger has been on fire, and let's be serious for a second. Max Fried is just having a bad month. I guarantee you that by his next start, everything will be fine. We are forgetting the New York Yankees are still the New York Yankees. They still have one of the largest payrolls in baseball. They're only a handful of games back from first place in the AL East, and they still hold a wild card spot. This season is not over at all. There is still a ton of baseball to be played, but that's just some short-term thinking. What about long-term? Well, let's establish another fact. Aaron Judge is on the wrong side of 30, and soon enough, the athleticism that allowed him to play solid outfield defense at the height of 6'8" is gonna fade. So instead of becoming a full-time DH, Judge will likely play first base, which will be perfect. Anthony Volpe cannot possibly overthrow a nearly 7-foot target. There's just no chance. But seriously, this will allow the Yankees to platoon the DH position and not worry about having to sign a first baseman in free agency. In a way, this also is a good thing because it also opens up an outfield position, which means Spencer Jones won't be blocked anymore. And my God, this kid is on fire in AAA. I cannot wait for him to come up to the big leagues. So in a way, this is the perfect outcome for all parties involved. Personally, I was low on this Yankee season from the start. Not because I don't believe in them, but because I know they're not at their full potential. Imagine what this team would be like with Garrett Cole. Well, you don't really have to imagine because in 2026, we'll get to see that outcome. Now, I do think that might be the most important piece of information everyone is forgetting. The Yankees might not be scary right now, now, but just imagine how good they're gonna be next season with Fried, Cole, Rodon, Heel, and Cam Schlittler. That is one hell of a rotation, if not maybe the best in all of baseball. And it's not like the bats are slouches either. I think that anytime something bad happens to the Yankees, it gets amplified by New York sports media, and the fans just run with it. I mean, seriously, if you listen to New York sports radio, you'd think the Yankees were last place in the division, fighting to stay under 100 losses.
Why is Ben Rice catching at the big league level? Why is DJ LeMahieu still on this team? Why is their best second baseman playing third base? Why haven't they cleaned this thing up? Why have they allowed a shortstop with superstar potential to decline for 3 years? Why is it acceptable?
The reason I point this out is simple. That person might believe that they're saying wholeheartedly, but they're being facetious. But come on, do the Yankees have issues? Of course they do, but it's definitely not as bad as people think. I believe the main issue the Yankees face right now is complacency, player development, and postseason production. Now, before I address the complacency claim I made, if you want to deep dive into how the Yankees have been complacent ever since George Steinbrenner unfortunately passed away in 2010, we have an entire video on that and it's coming out next. But in a brief summary, the Yankees have let key coaches and executives stay with the franchise despite not delivering results. Look at Aaron Boone and Joe Girardi, for example. Both of them got longer leashes and way more leeway than Joe Torre, who the Yankees parted ways with after winning 4 World Series titles for them. Hal Steinbrenner clearly isn't as obsessed with winning like his father was. He's okay with losing the World Series if it means his team brings in record revenue. Secondly, what about the player development program? Now, I know what you might be thinking. How could that possibly be bad? Luis Gil just won Rookie of the Year. Spencer Jones is looking like an amazing prospect. Well, currently speaking, the Yankees only have 3 top 100 prospects, and their farm system ranks in the bottom half of the league. I know this is mainly because the team trades a lot of their prospects for major league talent, but teams like the Dodgers and Mets have proven that teams can build good farm systems while trading away prospects. It's very possible to do for teams willing to spend money like the New York Yankees. Third, what do I mean by postseason production? Well, look no further than Aaron Judge, one of, if not the best right-handed hitter of all time. We are talking about one of the best to ever lace up cleats on the diamond. So tell me why he's best known for choking in the playoffs. For example, Aaron Judge's career OPS in the regular season is over 1,000, but in the playoffs, it dips significantly to 768. I know not everyone can be Giancarlo Stanton or Juan Soto and hit clutch home runs in the playoffs, but that is an insane drop-off in production. What's funny is that New York sports radio has more concern about the Yankees in the regular season than when they're in the playoffs. And do I really need to explain how ironic that is? But seriously, the New York Yankees aren't going to do anything in the postseason if their biggest star won't perform. But I do think once Aaron Judge finally puts up a solid postseason, then and only then can we consider the New York Yankees World Series contenders. But who knows? Maybe that performance is sooner than you think. I genuinely think that by the time the calendar flips to October, Aaron Judge will be fine, and in all likelihood, the Yankees will regain steam and enter the postseason, winning the AL East division. But that's just the warm-up for next season, because if you thought the 2024 Yankees were a super team, boy, you have not seen anything yet. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Do you guys think the Yankees will make the playoffs? Will they win the division? How long will Aaron Judge be out? How long will Aaron Judge play DH? Will he ever return to the outfield? Can the Yankees turn it around before October? But most importantly, what do you think the New York Yankees need to do in order to guarantee themselves a chance at the World Series in 2026? Speaking of World Series, do you guys remember who won the 2015 World Series? If you don't, it was one hell of a playoffs and season altogether. We made a full breakdown video about what the MLB looked like in 2015. It's out on the channel now. But besides for that, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.